Okay, welcome to my channel. This is James Darby. Went on a ride today. Was going to take you to the Contusa Wildlife Management Area and then show you all the woods and how to get there and tell you my story about my motorcycle accident. I was almost there and got there, and it's blocked off because there's a big game hunt going on. So backtracked a little bit to a cemetery parking lot with an old church. Nice day. So here's my story. In 2006, in July, on the 17th of July, my brother had came over the night before because we were going to take his 1987 Goldwing and trade it in Virginia for a newer model. And I had a 2002 Road King that I rode. So that morning we got up early and left from my house and took the back ways over through Seneca Rocks, West Virginia to go to Harrisburg to trade the motorcycle. We had a nice ride and we stopped in Elkins and had breakfast. Then we headed out across the mountain to Seneca Rocks area. As I was coming down the mountain, there was a deer coming off the hill, and I managed to accelerate and get past it, so didn't actually hit it, and it made my heart go super fast. And I was thankful that I didn't actually hit it. So we stopped at the Yoakum store down below for a rest. We talked about it, drank a Pepsi, and we talked about how lucky we were and how fortunate it was that I wasn't in that accident with the deer. So we pulled out from there and turned right on 33 going to Harrisburg and went about a mile and a half till we got to the Seneca Rocks campground area. Then we were running about 55 and we saw a Ford Escort wagon coming out of the campground entrance and coming down. It's a nice sunny day. Made eye contact with the driver, at least thought we did, and slowed down. But then when he paused, we sped up. It was going about 50 miles an hour. And when my brother got in, up close to the car, he just pulled out right in front of him. My brother was able to, he hit the rear quarter panel of this Ford Escort station wagon and jumped at the last moment and ended up in the ditch. I, on the other hand, locked up my brakes, locked up the back wheel, was sliding, and got crashed into his motorcycle and got intertwined between two motorcycles going down the road at 50 miles an hour, or slowing down. But I thought, look at me, we're riding two motorcycles at the same time. And adrenaline come in, and what happened next was just crazy, you know. When my bike slowed down enough and his bike slowed down enough and they wanted to fall over, mine wanted to go right, his wanted to go left. My leg was in his bike and I was on my bike. So I broke my top fibia, about 5 inches of my knee, of my bone that supports my knee along with the knee plateau. So I broke my leg real bad. The bone was stuck out at the bottom. Somebody going by, I was just going to see if they was going to stop. And I was laying in the road and I saw my brother laying in a ditch and I jumped up, but like the old saying goes, didn't have a leg to stand on, and I fell down and hit the road. And before I could think, I jumped up again and fell down and hit the road. And by then he had come to and saying, don't do that, your bones are sticking out. So I laid there in the road, and nice sunny day, 9:30 in the morning, and my bike laying there tore up and his all tore up, and the guy in the car come over with a blanket and was holding it up to shade the sun. And they say, "You need anything? Can we help you?" I said, "Well, I had a Pepsi in my saddlebag. See if it's still there." Of course, my saddlebag was tore all to pieces. And I looked to my left, and the Pepsi was sitting up in the middle of the road. So they got me the Pepsi, and I drank that while we waited for the ambulance and the first responder. The first responder was a great guy. He was a volunteer paramedic. I wish I had his name. He did so much for me. He comforted me. He put an air splint on my leg, and he kept me comfortable till the hospital ambulance got there. When the ambulance got there, they put us both in the same ambulance and took us to Grant Memorial Hospital in Petersburg. So it's 60 miles of an ambulance ride through the woods. And we got to the hospital and went into the emergency room. And there was my brother on one gurney and I was on the other gurney. They were cutting our clothes and boots off and checking us out. And of course, I had the crippled leg and he didn't have any scratches on him. Turned out he had a cracked rib, but that was all, which that's enough. But I'm fortunate that, being thankful that he didn't get hurt worse than that. So they took me and put me in a heli. Well, first of all, in Grant Memorial Hospital, they were working on me, and they said, "Do you want to call anybody?" And I said, "Yeah, if you could call my wife." And I gave them the phone number. So the nurse went to the phone right there in the emergency room, and I heard her say, "Miss Darby, this is Nurse so and so, Grant Memorial Hospital. Your husband was in a motorcycle accident. We're going to life flight him to West Virginia University Hospital." Of course, Paula went crazy because life flight means there's something wrong with you. And she started getting hysterical and trying to get more information. And the nurse was trying to tell her. And I said, "Let me talk to her." And I told her, when she gave me the phone, I said, "I was in a motorcycle accident. I just broke my leg. I'll be fine." And she said, "What about Dana?" I said, "He's here. He's okay. He's probably stoved up, but he didn't break anything, so he's good." So she left to go to the hospital, and they put me in a helicopter to fly me to the hospital in Morgantown. And they discharged Dana, so he's standing out in front of the hospital with short pants where they cut him off. He got his motorcycle boots on and don't know where he's going, what he's going to do. Thankfully, my wife Paula called and thought to call him or talk to him, and sent a pastor from our church over to get him and brought him up to the hospital. So in the hospital, after I got out of the helicopter, which was quite a ride because I get claustrophobic anyway, they did surgery that night just to make it fixed in place. So they put 5 pins down through my leg and an exoskeleton of rods and clamps to hold it in position. And then, of course, they put me back in bed, and the first thing they say is, "Oh, you got to walk." So I had to get out of bed with that on and walk around, which was kind of crazy. So then, a day or so later, when the regular bone doctor, Dr. Franks, came in, he looked at it all, and he told me he does 100 of them a year, and this is about the worst he's seen, and they didn't know if he could make it so I could walk again. He said, "I could probably save your leg, but you may never walk again." So that's the kind of thing that you don't want to hear, but you're still alive, so you're thankful for that. So I went home, and after 10 days, they took me in for outpatient surgery and took off the exoskeleton. And then he did the surgery on my knee. Ended up taking a lot longer, but he was able to put a pin in the top of the bone and a titanium nail bracket on my ankle. And then he took Godiva bone, which is donated from somebody who died, and grinds it up with epoxy and molds me a new bone with a knee plateau. Then they sealed it all up, and I got out of the surgery, and it hurt a lot, and I was hollering, "I want my Paula, I want my Paula," and they say, "Not till you calm down." And they had given me different medicines, morphine and Toradol, and they said, "We can't give you any more. We don't have anything else that you can take." And the anesthesiologist guy come along and said, "What? How you doing?" I said, "I'm doing terrible. My leg hurts. They can't make it stop." And he said, tells the lady, "Give him some Dilaudid." So they give me Dilaudid, and then I calmed down, and my wife and my mother came in, and then they took me and put me in a room, and I woke up next morning with a repaired leg, still some pain, but had to get around on crutches. So I went home, proceeded to live in the downstairs because I couldn't get upstairs where the bedroom was. My mother-in-law came and helped take care of me, and I really appreciate that. Went through several months of doctor's visits, and everything was looking good. And then the next thing was physical therapy. So I started physical therapy in September, and like the first part of September. And I told the doctor I wanted to be done by my birthday, and he said, "When's that?" And I said, "October 20th." He said, "We'll do it by his birthday," which was October 31st. So I went to went to physical therapy several times a week up until the middle of October. Then they had me pared down to using crutches. I did that for a week and a half. Then they had me pared down to a cane and a brace, and I did that for a couple of weeks. So I got out of the by the end of October, and I went home and lived on crutches and cane and brace. And I went back to the doctor on January 30th of 2007, and I was with the cane and the brace, and the first thing he did was took me and did a couple x-rays of both my legs. Then he come back and he said, "Do you think you can walk without that cane and that brace?" And I said, "I believe so." So he had me take it off. Then he had me walk down the hall, and he followed me. And then he directed me back into where the x-rays were hanging on the wall. And he said, "One x-ray is your good leg, one's your bad leg. Can you tell me which one's which?" And I looked him over and I said, "No, I can't tell you." And he said, "Well, I'll tell you right now, the only way I could tell, a little scratch on the bone right there in this one picture is my signature on your repaired leg." He said, "I don't know how you did this, how you healed like this at 43 years old. So I want you to do me a favor." So what's that? He said, "I want you to get out of here, and I never want to see you again." And I said, "Okay." And he says, "And throw that cane and brace away." So that was January 30 or 31st of 2007, and I got my motorcycle back the first week of January, but it was in the garage. And I used to have a limp, pretty significant, but now I don't. After all these years of walk, I don't have any problems and never had any pain. I was working in 2010 and got on some ice, and my good leg went out from under me, and it brought down all my weight on my knee, on the bad leg, on the ice. And it stoved up, and I could feel it, but it didn't really hurt. But it didn't break anything either. So I have been very blessed in my life. And that particular time, I think God took a hand in making it so I could walk again, just so I could be in good shape whenever my next challenge come along, which was my cancer video that has already been just shared. So I want to thank all the people that were involved. Thank the doctor, thank my wife, thank the ambulance people, and in particular the paramedic that came. And if he's watching this, he could contact me. I would really like to thank him in person. So, other than that, it's a beautiful day. I'm here at a cemetery at the Crab Orchard Church of Christ, established 1805. And it's just the building now, but Christ has been here and he's everywhere. And I'm thankful and thank everybody for watching this video. So, thank you very much. Goodbye.